everybody. This is Dr. Kristen Allett, and
This is Cami Bricker.
we're today going to go over a beautiful slide deck of affordable, high-protein meal ideas for reducing anxiety and fatigue. If you have followed our other videos, you know how important it is to get protein in your meals, but then people are often wondering, how do I do that and make it healthy and affordable? And Cami has done a wonderful job putting together some ideas today, and so we're just going to go through that. This was produced through Dynamic Brains Consulting, but Cami was our fabulous food stylist and photographer. And if you have more questions, you can come and find us at kristenallett.com or Protein for All. I just want to remind everybody that this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. You should not think that you're getting medical advice or consultation, diagnosis, or treatment. We just say that at the beginning of every presentation. So here we go. Cami, tell us a little bit about what you cooked up for us.
All right, so today we're going to be going through quite a few different things. We've got our tuna mac and peas, and we've got a barbecue chicken wrap. We're going to look at a smashed white bean sandwich, some creamy chicken ramen, and we're also going to show you a couple how-tos, how to steam broccoli and how to scramble eggs. Which brings us into the breakfast items we'll be looking at today, which is Hearty Beans and Eggs and Chorizo breakfast burritos. And lastly, we're going to be looking at a bright black bean salad.
Awesome.
So this first one is tuna mac and peas, which is one that you wanted me to create for this project. And
my favorite self-care meals. Like in medical school, mac and cheese was like the thing that made me feel better.
I have definitely used this several times since you gave me this recipe, and it's really good and really easy and just super simple, and I'm sure most of you all have these ingredients at home. So we're just going to do a box of mac and cheese, and you can do chicken or tuna, but we use tuna, and some frozen peas and some butter, and then you can either use milk or some pasta water. So for this, you're just going to cook the mac and cheese, boil the noodles in water, and while that's happening, you're going to defrost the peas just by running them under cool water. And once the noodles are done, you'll drain the noodles, put it back in the pot, and you'll add the milk, the butter, and the cheese packet, and just mix all that up. And then you'll drain the tuna and add the peas, and then just kind of mix it all until it's warm. And I really like to spice it up a little bit by putting some hot sauce or red pepper flakes. As you can see in this slide, this is the finished product, and I really like sriracha, so I used that for my hot sauce, and it was really good. And yeah, as you can see, this packs a lot of protein.
So one of the things that I love about this is, as Cami pointed out, you almost get 60 grams of protein, and a good amount of protein for somebody to eat in a meal is about 20 grams. And so this would be great for one adult and two kids, or one adult for breakfast and then lunch, or for dinner at night and then maybe breakfast or lunch the next day. So it can be a couple of different meals, and it's super quick to make up.
So the next thing is the barbecue chicken wrap. This one's really fun. We used canned chicken, but you can certainly use some cooked chicken or some lunch meat or something. But basically, you just took some tortillas and some ranch and barbecue sauce and used a little bit of red onion. You could also use some green onion if you wanted. And we've got some lettuce, some tomato, some cucumber. Honestly, you can use kind of whatever veggies you have on hand or whatever veggies that you like that would be yummy in a wrap. And this one's pretty simple. You're just gonna chop up the ingredients such as the cucumber and tomato and the onion, and then you'll just drain the chicken and kind of assemble everything on the tortilla. You'll want to put the sauces on first and then just kind of layer everything on there and then just roll it up and eat it.
Yeah, and what I liked about this is if you don't have any of the sauces, like it's easy. It was just an easy reminder for me because I've gotten really lazy about my burritos that like you can make anything into a burrito and you can use any kind of sauce to create it into being yummy. And so if you're working on a limited budget and going to like um, grocery mart and they have different kinds of sauces or different kinds of salad dressings, you can mix, get them on the cheap and mix them up and make food that has lots of different flavor in it. And I really love this idea that Cami came up with.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, if you didn't have those things, I feel like a lot of us might have mayo or mustard, so you could just even use that if you wanted to. Yeah, really anything that you have, you could use on there. And also, you could probably just put a little bit of like olive oil and salt and pepper on it too, if that was all you had. The next one we're going to be looking at is the smashed white bean sandwich. This one I came up with because I used to make a salad that had white beans and tomatoes and avocado in it. And so I kind of just made it into a sandwich and I really like it. It's really easy and delicious. You're going to just have some white beans, some avocado, some tomato, some bread, and a little bit of lettuce and some salt and pepper. So this one's really easy to make. You just mash up the avocado and the beans in a bowl with a fork and add some salt and pepper in there. And then you'll just assemble that on the sandwich and you'll slice up your tomato, put a couple tomatoes on top, a little bit of greens. I mean, you could also put some pickled jalapenos or I put some mustard on there. So you could just kind of add some other ingredients that you would like. This one is really delicious and looks really pretty too.
Yeah, and I loved this idea because often you could boil the beans if you wanted, but a lot of times we all have canned beans, and it's a easy way of having protein that's ready that hasn't been refrigerated and could be bought months ago. And it's for some people this will be a handy tool to have when they haven't gone grocery shopping for a while, and to have something delicious to eat.
Okay, so the creamy chicken ramen. This one is bringing me back to my childhood because my friend in middle school used to make this at her house. So for this one, we're going to use a large can of chicken and some cream of chicken soup, and then a couple packets of ramen. And then to round it out, I just added some steamed broccoli, which we're going to show you how to make. But you could also use some frozen peas. You could use canned artichokes. I mean, you could do whatever you want on the side for a green. But for this one, you're just going to cook the ramen, boil the water, cook the noodles, drain the chicken, and once the noodles are done, you'll drain the water, put it back in the pan, and add the chicken soup, the chicken. And I would start out with one ramen packet at first, and then if you really need some more flavor, you can add a little bit more in there. But you're just gonna stir everything until it's all nice and warmed. And so here's our finished product. Actually has a lot of protein in it. But so you can do this for like 3 meals. And I put a little parsley flakes on there just for color, but you certainly don't have to do that. But yeah, this one's really yummy.
And again, this is something that if you are really busy or sometimes you get low in supplies, you could have the canned tuna and the canned tuna soup and the ramen and frozen broccoli, and make it, and it's shelf stable for a long time, and then you can just quickly make it, which is a amazing recipe.
So yeah, to steam broccoli, I used some fresh broccoli here, but you could definitely use frozen broccoli, or you could throw it in the microwave if you want. But to steam the broccoli, you're just gonna rinse off your broccoli crown and cut it up into chunks, and then you'll fill a pot with some water, like a couple inches high, and just turn it on high heat. And once that's boiling, you'll put the broccoli in there and cover it with a lid for about like 3 to 4 minutes. And you can just test it with a fork to see if it goes through it easily. And when it does, then your broccoli is done. Or, I mean, if you like it a little more crunchy, you can take it out a little early. And yeah, then you can either rinse it with cool water if you're not going to eat it right then, just so that it doesn't continue cooking, or you can just eat it nice and hot.
So when I was at Bastyr, I took a cooking class, and I was a pretty good cook, but I had never been told to rinse my broccoli after I had boiled it. And broccoli was always just a little bit soggy, and I didn't really like it. And then once I started rinsing it in cool water, it was so much more delicious. Like it seems like an additive step, but it makes a difference. And it's these little tricks that make it that Cammie's going over that really make a difference on okay food to really delicious food.
Okay, so we've also got our Hearty Beans and Eggs. This is pretty much one of my favorite breakfasts. I have it all the time. And we're just going to use some refried beans. I made my own, but you can certainly just use canned refried beans. A couple of eggs, some salsa, some salt and pepper, some oil, and a zucchini. So for this one, you're just gonna peel the zucchini, cut it in half, and then you'll cut the halves into little half moons. And you're gonna heat the oil in a pan and just saute the zucchini and salt and pepper until they're to your liking. I like them kind of tender, but you could also do them a little slightly crunchy. And while the zucchini is cooking, you can just heat the refried beans in the microwave. Super easy with that. And once the zucchini is done, you just take it off the heat and cover it and make your scrambled eggs. And then you'll just top the eggs with salsa and just eat it all together. And I just think it's super delicious. This is, like I said, one of my favorite breakfasts. So
Yeah, super easy and super yummy.
yeah. Yeah, and so it's pretty good, 18 grams of protein,
Yep.
fairly balanced meal. I put a little bit of cilantro on there. You don't have to do that at all, but that is an extra little delicious thing too. So to make your scrambled eggs, this is kind of funny. It's just I've made scrambled eggs for so long, and it was just funny trying to do the instructions for this because you don't really think about all the little things that you're doing when you do it. So I just want to put a disclaimer that there are a million ways to make scrambled eggs. So this is just one way. And you can just take a little bit of butter or oil and just heat that in a pan. Also, I mean, if you have a non-stick pan, you don't have to use oil if you don't want to or if you don't have it. And yeah, you'll just crack the eggs into a bowl. And there's a fun little trick. If you get some shells in the bowl, you can just take a spoon and get your spoon wet and then just fish out the shells, and it just makes it way easier to get. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do that and you're trying to get it out and you just can never get it out. So that's a fun little trick. Makes it less frustrating.
That is a good little trick.
Yeah. So I use that a lot. And so once the butter is melted or the oil starts kind of looking shiny, you'll just make sure you coat the pan. And so once that's heated, you'll just take a whisk or a fork and you'll just whisk up the eggs in the bowl. And if you want a little bit more light and fluffy eggs, you can whisk them for a little longer, or if you want them more dense and thick, then you can just whisk them a little bit really quick. And then you'll just pour those into the pan and just wait for a couple of minutes until the eggs start setting. If there is any white left in your egg mixture, then it will start to turn white like this picture right here. And then you can know that it's ready to start pushing around with your spatula. And you'll just keep kind of like pushing it around and make sure the liquid gets everywhere on the pan so that the eggs are continuously cooking. And you just want to keep moving the eggs around so you don't burn them. So yeah, then your eggs will start forming some large curds, and when the eggs aren't wet anymore, then you know that they're done. Some people like their eggs a little more on the wet side, so if that's you, then you can take them off a little bit early, but then you can just season the eggs with salt and pepper after. And I used to always mix the salt and pepper in with the eggs in the past. That's how I learned to do it. But in doing research, I learned that the eggs actually dry out more if you put the salt in with the eggs first. So seasoning it after is a better idea. And you can also just taste the seasoning a little bit more when you don't mix it in to begin with. So just a little tip on that.
That's a good tip.
Continuing with our breakfast theme, we've got the chorizo breakfast burritos. And we're going to use some pork chorizo, some tortillas, a little bit of cheese if you would like, and some eggs, and then some salsa. And so you're just going to cook the chorizo to the package instructions, put it on a skillet and wait till that's done. And once that is done, it'll be kind of greasy. So you can just take a paper towel and soak up the grease inside of the pan and throw that away. And then in a different pan or the same pan, you can scramble the eggs. And then you'll
after you remove the chorizo, right?
Yes, absolutely. After you remove the chorizo, and then you'll just kind of warm the tortillas. I just throw them in the microwave for a minute, or not a minute, probably more like 10 or 20 seconds. And then divide the eggs and chorizo into 4 different servings. If you want some sour cream or some salsa or the cheese, or you could do cilantro or something, then you could do that.
Sounds delicious.
I think there's another way that you usually deal with the grease if you wanted to tell people.
So I had never thought about putting paper towel in a pan. I always pour the sausage onto a plate that has paper towel on it, and so it just soaks through. But I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. And so if you haven't cooked a lot, one of the most confusing things about it is everybody has their own way, which you should take to be like it's okay to experiment and try things and make it fit your style.
After she shared with me that tip, I was thinking before I should probably do that next time because that sounds easier. But there's a lot of ways to do it. So you can just get the grease out, make your eggs, and make your delicious burrito. So this one's nice because it's really filling. Just one burrito's got almost 25 grams of protein. So it's really good breakfast in the morning, and really it's pretty quick too. So okay, our last meal is going to be the bright black bean salad. And this one also was kind of inspired by that salad I talked about in the beginning that I used to make. And I just made some more additions to it. And this is definitely one of my favorite meals that I made. It is just really good and really fresh. It just tastes really delicious. So we're going to do some queso fresco, or you could use some feta cheese if you'd like. And we use some lime juice and some green onions and tomatoes and some black beans, cilantro, salt and pepper, and some oil. So this one's really simple. You'll just chop the tomatoes and green onions and cilantro and put those in a bowl and combine them. And then you're gonna drain and rinse your black beans and add those to the bowl. And then you'll add the salt, the oil, the pepper, and the lime juice. And I just always want to tell people, I mean, this is your meal, so you all of this stuff you can really change what how much you want. So especially with the oil, the salt, the pepper, and the lime juice, and you can go with the measurements I had, but if you like yours really limey or you need a little more salt or something, then feel free to add some more, and you'll just mix that up really good and then crumble up the queso fresco and sprinkle it on top. And yeah, this one was definitely really delicious and I liked this meal a lot.
And again, this is a recipe that you can mix up really easily in terms of like trying new things. Like I could see bell pepper going really well in this, or instead of cheese, using an avocado. Certainly, you could swipe lime for lemon if that's what you have. Like the basic template really serves to make lots of different flavors. And the variation I do at home, like it tastes better the next day.
Yes. Oh yeah. I love when the flavors just get to sit and mix together. And I feel like a lot of meals like that are often better the next day. So
Sure. Well,
yeah.
Cami, thank you so much for putting these meals together for us and walking us through how to make them. For those of you who are listening to this video, thank you so much for going through the video. We hope that it is helpful. And please contact us on what is your favorite meal, or if you have meals that are in the same vein with just simple ingredients, really delicious. And we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun making this, and please give your feedback. And if you have any meals you want us to create or anything that you love, and I hope that you enjoyed this video.
Thank you.